Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Bibbity Bobbity Books. My name is Ellie and this is going to be the end of year book tag. So I know that it's not the end of the year and I'm not wishing away the year. I just feel like it's appropriate to film this tag video now because some of the questions talk about books that transition you into autumn and books that you want to finish by the end of the year. So I feel like you kind of need to film this video in advance of the end of the year. So that's why we're doing it now. I hope that makes sense. And yeah, it's been a while since I've done a tag video, so hopefully this will be a bit of fun. If you want to join in, I would love to hear your answers to these questions too. Please do drop them in the comment section down below. And yeah, let's get stuck into it. So the first question is, are there any books that you started this year that you still need to finish? So yes, there is a book that I need to finish, which is actually behind me here, and that is Mad Ship by Robin Hobb. So this is a book that I am so excited for. I read the first book in this fantasy trilogy earlier this year and absolutely loved it, and I've been so excited to get stuck into the second book. I started it, but it wasn't the right time. So I'd just come off the back of reading the second Malazan book, Dead House Gates, which is a very intense, very long, very heavy and demanding fantasy book. And then I went into this one and I was finding it a little bit difficult to concentrate. I was actually craving something a little bit lighter after reading the Malazan book. And I also had a lot going on in my personal life. It's probably not interesting to you at all, but I had like interviews and stuff. Basically, long story short, I was struggling to concentrate on this book, and I feel like I wanted to wait until I had the right moment to read this because it's a story that I just know that I'm going to love. So yeah, I started it, ended up putting it down, but definitely want to get to this one soon, especially because I was supposed to be buddy reading this one with my lovely friend Nikhil, who's been so patient with me. Thank you so much, Nikhil. And you know, I really want to chat to him about this book, so I really need to get to this one at some point. Robin Hobb has gorgeous writing and she has deliciously slow stories and wonderful character development, and they're the kind of books that you really want to savour. So yes, I will definitely be reading this one when the time is right, and I'm very excited. Okay, so the next question is, do you have an autumnal book to transition into the end of the year? Yes, I do, and that is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Janowski. I've probably butchered that name, I'm really sorry. But this is a book that I've been wanting to read for a long time, but I've been hugely intimidated by. And yeah, I think this is going to be the perfect autumnal read because it's spooky, it's creepy, it's supposed to be atmospheric, and it's also a bit of a detective book in that you as a reader are following clues and you're looking at documents and things like that to try and piece together what is going on. And that just seems like the perfect thing to do sort of when it's grey outside, maybe rainy outside, and you're there sort of hunched over the book trying to piece together the puzzle. And yeah, for that reason I think this is going to be perfect for the autumn season. All I know about this book is that it involves a house that's bigger on the inside than the outside, and it's supposed to be quite creepy, and of course the formatting of this book is very unusual. If I just flick through some of the pages, you might be able to see that it's very unique in the way that it's formatted, and there's a whole big appendix at the back which has additional information that you can reference as you're reading through this. And it's basically supposed to be a bit of a labyrinth. You're supposed to be kind of trying to figure out what's going on and flipping between the appendices and the main story, and it sounds like a really challenging book, but also one that sounds so unique and fascinating and such a interesting reading experience, I would imagine. So yes, I'm looking forward to this one, even though I am a little bit intimidated, but I really hope that I love this one because I know that it's hugely popular and everybody seems to like it, so I hope that I do too, and yes, I'm excited. The next question is there a new release you're still waiting for? So yeah, I mean, I've not been keeping up with new releases as well as I normally do this year. I've been kind of focusing on my own TBR and working through what I already have. But there is a book that I am interested in that's coming out in October, and that is Rainforest by Michelle Paver. So Michelle Paver is quickly becoming one of my favourite horror authors. I've read 2 of her books so far, Wakenhurst and Dark Matter, A Ghost Story, and I loved both of them. So of course I'm excited for her newest release, and this one sounds very different actually to her other books, which intrigues me. So the blurb says, "The jungle watches, the dead remember. The virgin rainforest seems a paradise to Englishman Simon Corbett, a last chance to salvage his career, a final refuge from a terrible secret. But the jungle is no Eden. It hides secrets of its own. It does not forgive. As Simon is drawn into its haunted shadows, he learns to his horror that the past will not stay buried, for there are places in the forest where the line between the living and the dead is thinner than the skin of water." How good does that sound? I really enjoy books that are set in a jungle-like aesthetic, things that have that planty, environmental factor to them. So the fact that this is set in a creepy rainforest really piques my interest, and also is something that I really wouldn't expect from this author, because her other books have been much more kind of gothic and that kind of vibe, whereas it being in a rainforest is a very different setting. So I'm very interested to see how she does this story and how atmospheric it can be. And yeah, I'm so excited for this one. I probably will pick it up next year because I've just got so much crammed onto my TBR for the end of the year, but I'm definitely looking forward to it anyway. Okay, the next question is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of the year? So I have a whole autumn stack of books that I would like to read. I'm not going to get through all of them, but I'm very interested to try some of them and get through as many as I can. And I filmed a video talking about those books, so I'll link that down below if you want to see what is on my autumn TBR list. But to avoid kind of overlapping and always talking about the same things, there are 3 books that I haven't mentioned on that video that I would like to read by the end of the year, probably when it starts to get a bit colder, maybe November, December time. So the first one is a holiday read, but it's a horror, and that is Nosferatu by Joe Hill. So this is a very popular horror book, and it's one that is perfect for the Christmas season, and I think this year I'm going to try and actually read it because I've been eyeing it up for a while. I've been wanting to get to it for a really long time. I don't actually own it yet, but I will probably try and see if I can get it from my library or borrow it from a friend. But yeah, all I know about this one is that it's a supernatural horror, and I believe it follows a killer or some kind of demon or villain that takes people to this place called Christmasland, which I think is kind of like some kind of horrific theme park. I could be really wrong about that. I honestly don't know too much about this one, other than that it's really popular and well received, and that it involves Christmasland, so it is a festive read as well. So yeah, I don't actually want to look into this one too much. I don't want to know too much about the story because I feel like it's probably better to go into it without having expectations, without knowing exactly what's going to be around the corner. But I am suspecting that there will be some kind of vampiric element to the story just because of the title Nosferatu. So that's interesting, and yeah, I don't know, we'll see. Maybe I'll get to that one in December, and I'm excited. Another book that I would like to read this winter is A Haunting in the Arctic by C.J. Cluck. So this is obviously a ghosty tale that involves a vessel, a ship that's going out to the Arctic, and because of that I feel like it's going to be the perfect atmospheric read for winter, because obviously it's going to be a cold, icy setting. So this is historical. It says it's set in 1901, and yeah, it's some kind of supernatural ghosty story, and I think that it's going to be so fun to curl up on a cold evening with this one and to read something a little bit spooky. I love books that are set on the sea, so it ticks the box for that, and yeah, I hope that it is a fun time. So yeah, looking forward to that. And then something completely different to those 2 books, I would quite like to read Silverborn, The Mystery of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. So this is obviously a complete 180 from the horror books that are on my TBR list. However, I do sometimes quite like to read something a bit cozy, a bit comforting in the winter season. It helps me feel quite cozy and festive, and this is such a delight for a middle grade series. And I also feel like this might be quite nice to listen to in the car as an audiobook, because in November I'm actually starting a new job and that will involve quite long commutes. So I'm going to be needing some good audiobooks to listen to on my commutes, and I just feel like it will be so cozy and comforting to listen to these stories in the car. I probably will need to go back and reread the first 3 books in this series because it's been years since I read those and I honestly can't remember what happens. So yes, that is something that I may end up getting stuck into this winter, and I'm very excited. If you haven't heard of this one before, like I said, it's a middle grade, so it's a children's story, but I feel like it's the kind of children's book that appeals to all ages. It's just so well written, and I feel like everybody can get something out of these books. If you're a fan of fantasy, if you're a fan of cozy things, then I think that you will love these stories. So yeah, the first book in this series follows our main character Morrigan Crow, who is believed to be cursed, and she's believed to have this fate where she will die on her birthday. I think it's her 11th birthday maybe. But when her birthday arrives, she doesn't die. She actually gets rescued by this man called Jupiter North, who whisks her away to this magical world. And basically she gets entered into a series of trials to try and win a place into the, is it Wensock Society or something? Into this magic school. And yeah, we follow along on her journey, but it's just such a creative setting. It's so fun. It has lovable characters. It's got heart to the story. It's got whimsy, it's got magic, and it's just the perfect cozy winter read in my opinion. So yeah, I would like to get back into that series. Okay, the next question says, is there a book you think could shock you and become your favourite book of the year? So I always hope that every book that I pick up is going to become a new favourite, so this is quite a difficult question to answer. But I suppose one that might be a little bit of a shock would be Slewfoot by Brom. So I'm hoping to pick this one up very soon, and I'm a little bit cautious because the last book that I read by Brom was The Child Thief, and I really did not enjoy that book. So I've had a bit of a hit and miss relationship with this author. I read Krampus by Brom and I really enjoyed it, and then I read The Child Thief and I really did not enjoy it. So it's kind of 50-50 whether or not I'm going to enjoy Slewfoot. I'm hoping that it will swing back to the love side. I think it will, because a lot of people really love Slewfoot. It seems to be a very popular one, so I'm sure that I will also enjoy it. But I'm just a little bit cautious. I think it will either really work for me or it really won't, but we shall see. Time will tell. And then the final question just says, have you started making reading plans for next year? And I mean, no, not really. I don't even know what I'm having for tea tonight. I am not a very organised person when it comes to things like that. I also quite like to keep things quite relaxed here on this channel. I don't like to tie myself into strict TBRs or things like that, because then I find it stressful, and reading shouldn't be stressful. It's my hobby, it should be fun. So I like to just let my reading tastes dictate what I want to pick up, my mood and whatever I'm fancying. So I don't like to set too many things in stone. However, I do want to continue on with the Malazan series. So I read the first 2 books and I will obviously want to keep carrying on with that series, so I will be slowly reading those books next year as well. And I also want to finish the Lifeship Traders trilogy, so I need to, like I said in the very beginning, I need to finish the Mad Ship and then continue on and read the final book as well. So those are definites, but aside from that, who knows? We'll see. Okay, so I think that was the final question. So that brings me to the end of this tag video. I hope you enjoyed hearing my answers. I'm looking forward to hearing what you would choose for these answers too. I hope that you're all doing really, really well. I also just want to say thank you so much if you've recently subscribed to my channel, because I feel like I've had quite a few new subscribers. So thank you so much. It's lovely to have you here, and I'm sending you all the best. As always, don't forget to like this video if you did like it, and I guess I'll see you next time with another video. Bye!